All right, so the year 2026 is really, really undulating with vigor and vitality. And at times like this, there's a need for us to pay attention to our movements from one location to the other. We've been having series of crashes these days, and people are wondering what is the best way to avert some of these road crashes that we're experiencing. So let's see what the FRSC can give us in terms of the template that we need to adopt this year so that we can avert these road crashes. And joining me on the phone line all the way from Abuja, I have the Assistant Corps Marshal Olusegun Ogungbemide, who is Corps Public Education Officer for the Federal Road Safety Corps, and is linking up with us this morning. It's nice to have you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
And how are you? And how is Abuja this morning?
Abuja is doing fine. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
All right, so let's connect with FRSC, by the way. So how are things faring with the nation's topmost agency for road safety?
Yes, the work is going on, and we are doing all the needful to carry out the mandate given to FRSC, which is to create a safe motoring environment for Nigeria and reduce the rate of road traffic crashes on our roads.
And when you look at that assignment, really, I know you guys have been doing this since 1988. In terms of creating that safe environment for road safety, where are we in terms of meeting up with that mandate?
Yes, thank you very much. If you look at where we started in 1988, or let me say prior to 1988, where we had an average of 42,000 deaths per annum, compared to where we are today, that's precisely 38 years after, where today we have an average of 6,000 deaths recorded annually. You agree with me that the Corps, though is still not comfortable with where we are, has done tremendously well in carrying out the mandate.
Right. So the landmarks are there that you guys are really, really doing well. But in what areas? What areas will you say these are the landmarks of our achievement? These are things that we're doing well. Because as we speak today, Assistant Corps Marshal Ogungbemide, there's still series of incidents that we record on a daily basis. Road traffic crashes, some of them quite unbelievable. So what are the landmarks for FRSC if you're to look at it?
Yes, I think majorly when you talk of the landmark we have achieved, I will talk more on the area of advocacy. That's sensitizing members of the public on the dangers on our roads. In the last 38 years, nobody, except those that are just coming on board now, in Nigeria today that will say he does not know what is expected of him while making use of the road. Is it the area of causes of road traffic crashes, which we have emphasized more in three categories as being vehicle, the human error, and the environmental. And these are the major factors that we have been talking about, under which we summarize the activities of the effort in reducing road traffic crashes. So I think majorly in the area of advocacy, because we've come to realize that in all the effort put in place, enforcement can only take care of 15% of the effort towards reducing road traffic crashes. But advocacy, reaching out to mass members of the public, has been going a long way in assisting to carry out this mandate.
Advocacy, yes. I know we've been doing a whole lot in that regard. I know FRSC also championed the era of, seat belts from the early 2000s and all of that. But beyond that, yes, in terms of limiting the speed and, people driving according to safe speed limits, it appears we're not doing well in that regard.
Yes, if you can say that by virtue of your own, judging from your own angle as a media person, and judging from the rate of road traffic crashes that we experience in the recent time. But you agree with me that when it comes to giving out policies and enforcement, it's a different ballgame when it comes to compliance. All the Western world, where we celebrate today that they've assisted in reducing road traffic crashes, it takes two to tango. It's one thing for enforcement to be there, it's one thing for policies to be there, And it's another thing for members of the public to comply with the rules, because policy takes care of the majority of the crises we are trying to solve, while enforcement is just to address the few deviants. But the moment we have problem with compliance with policies, enforcement become overwhelmed, and that's where we are today. A situation where everybody that makes use of the road is expected to know what the speed limit is, and by personal decision, somebody decides to go against or beyond what the speed limit is. And you recall that Nigeria today has more than 200,000 road networks, and it is not possible. Even if we put FRSC on all the roads, the state agencies on the road, we cannot do route lining. So that's why we dwell more on speaking to the conscience of Nigerians, especially the road users. You cannot be behind the wheel without going through driving school and having a better understanding of what the road sign says.
Right.
And you know that your road sign says you are not expected to go beyond a particular limit on a category of road. And by just your own personal decision, you decided to go beyond that. At that moment where there's no enforcement, what happens? And these are the series of problems we have been managing. It's still ongoing. We have succeeded in reducing the tithes, but we'll still continue to put up more policies and enforcement to counter this crisis.
Let's look at the outgone year, for instance. I mean, we had some terrible crashes last year, notably the one with celebrated British Nigerian boxer Anthony Joshua. I do not know how far we've gone in terms of the investigation for that. There was the Kogi highway crash, 10 people killed, 11 injured in a highway crash in Kogi State. We also had the Zaria Kano highway crash as well, 21 people killed, and that was when the Toyota Hiace bus driving against traffic collided head-on with a trailer. We've had the Jebode or Bada Expressway crash as well, 10 lives lost due to wrong overtaking. We've also had Lagos Ibadan Expressway, so many crashes on that corridor as well. So ACM Ogungbemide, so the question is, why is Nigeria not declaring a state of emergency on these roads, considering the number of lives that we lose virtually on a daily basis?
Well, that decision is actually left for the government to take. But as regards Federal Road Safety Corps, there's no crash that will occur that we have not flagged. And when we say declaring road state of emergency, you judge from, we have comparative analysis of what we had in 2024 compared to the crashes that occur in 2025. And though the Corps Marshal will soon meet the press in this regard for them to know how we fare and what the way forward will look like. But tentatively, I can say that there's reduction in death in 2025 compared to 2025. Okay. But the analysis will come up any moment from now. But what I'm trying to say is at times we might not be able to judge by virtue of the information made available to us. But we are also concerned. Every one single life that is lost is a major, crisis that needs to be attended to. So if we are saying we lost about 5,000 people in a year, I think we need is enough to be scandalized about, because every life is not just somebody's brother, somebody's father, or somebody's sister, or somebody's uncle.
Right.
And it is never something we are always happy about. And this thing is not just peculiar to Nigeria. It's a universal, it's a global concern. And that's what made the entire world to come together in 2009 and said, we have given enough lip service to the issue of reduction of road traffic crashes globally. Let us put all our arsenals together and see what we can do as the world entirely. That's what gave birth to the decade of action that came on board in 2010. So just for you to know that it's not just peculiar to Nigeria. So what we are tending towards now is, we know we cannot stop crashes from occurring, because it's something that is just beyond one individual person to decide. So that's why the world came together and said, then how can we stop fatality? That even when the crash occurs,
right, Hello.
decision that we took
Right.
some years ago and said major reason behind fatality is speed.
Okay.
Because when you drive below the speed limit, you get involved in crashes, there's every tendency that people will not be killed. But when you see fatality, go and check it. The underlying tone is always speed. And like I said, we still need to continue to talk because it is not possible. You are very much aware. We have close to 47 corridors that are being marked by Federal Road Safety Corps, which we put more concentration on. And we know we also have the limitation that we cannot put speed bumps on the express because it has its own advantage too. And we have made effective use of speed limit device, which cannot be on all the major roads. It's just a matter of sampling for people to know that we have an enforcement and we have the tools for it. That's why majorly in 2024, we adopted the idea of making use of the commuters as our ambassadors. FRSC cannot be with you throughout your trip, but you are going to be with the driver, especially the commuter vehicles. That's why we own them the responsibility as commercial vehicle occupants to protect them. We not say for us to protect you, you have to work with us. While we are not there with you, help us caution your driver, because if there's any crash, mostly the drivers don't get killed. It's the passengers that get killed. And a driver that is carrying about 20 passengers cannot claim to be overboard all of them. So they need this unifying effort to caution the driver and speak to his conscience. And we were able to succeed in 2024 because the rate of road traffic crashes reduced by 10%.
Which is very good. So let's talk about...
That was in 20. So we engage the commuters. We let them know that this is not a battle that can be dropped at the doorstep of FRSC. It is everybody's responsibility. Okay, a situation where you enter a vehicle on a trip from Lagos to Abuja, and before you get to Mowe, you're already sleeping. That is not the road is fast becoming a thing of concern to all of us.
Let's talk about the very big one that occurred just before the end of the year, the one that involved the boxer. What has been the findings for FRSC? Any other investigations? The driver, is FRSC taking any action?
Yes, you are very much aware that the driver was actually picked up by the police. And if the police that happen to be, when it comes to issue of security and state and safety, happen to be the lead agency, and they've taken that one up to handle that matter, it's not also possible for FRSC to come in the area of prosecution. But what I know is that the investigation is almost being rounded up by FRSC, and the document will be submitted to federal government appropriately for them to know our own submission as regards the crash involving Anthony Joshua. Right. But you also agree with me that it was a well-known thing in the public space that we're able to give our observatory investigation, that initial observation that we feel must have been the cause, and but it has to be justified by the extensive investigation that is about to be rounded up.
So the big question
needs to be made to the public.
Right. So the big question here is, let's take for or concede that the driver was already overspeeding. When we look at the impact of that crash, it's almost, too obvious that overspeeding would have been a responsible factor. But this happened just before the intersection, right, at Shagamu. So someone asking a question from Lagos all the way to that point, which must have spanned over 30 to 40 kilometers. Are we saying there are no traffic officials that could have identified that this driver was overspeeding for some kind of caution?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Is a question that so many people have asked. Naturally, when the vehicles are, when we talk of enforcement, the kind of enforcement that are being operated now is what we call intelligence strategic enforcement, where you avoid a situation where your enforcement will lead to more casualties. So we weigh the situation, and at the same time, we try not to, have another problem that we cannot manage. And coupled with the fact that when vehicles are moving on convoy, it is very difficult for law enforcement agencies to intercept such vehicle on convoy in order not to cause another road traffic crash.
Okay.
So if we are not mistaken, I know that movement was a convoy movement, because eventually we got to know that there were a kind of security pilots that was piloting the Anthony Joshua vehicle.
Okay.
Before the crash. Yes. So the best we do under that condition, under that situation, is to continue to talk to members of the public and even government agencies on the need for them to operate within the scope of the law when it comes to speed limit device, because it's easier for you to judge from outside if you are not an insider when it comes to enforcement. And I'm sure you are very familiar with the ethics of enforcement.
All right.
The essence of every enforcement is that the operators must think of their own safety first.
All right.
You get what I'm saying? We must think of their own. That's why we don't even pursue. So what we normally do, if we encounter such, what we do is to take the number of such vehicles if it is possible and if it is available. But you should also agree with me that most of the VIP vehicles, some of the vehicles the number plates are covered. So even it's very difficult for us to trace them in case we want to communicate to them. That's why we dwell more. 80% of our activities dwell more on advocacy, speaking to the people, speaking to all Nigerians for them to know the importance of keeping to every traffic regulations that are put in place by Federal Road Safety Corps.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning, we're looking at strategies to avert road crashes in 2026, the FRSC template. And taking us on this excursion, I have Assistant Corps Marshal Olusegun Ogungbemide, who is Corps Public Education Officer for the Federal Road Safety Corps, and he's connecting with us all the way from Abuja. Let's get back to the roads. Those of you making that journey towards the island, we can tell you that the major connecting points are still looking pretty good. From our live cameras in the studios, we can tell you Yanoworo linking up with the Third Mainland Bridge is still very good. You begin to meet some slowness at Adekunle inwards at Deniji, but no major worries there. At the Akpogbo end, traffic is very high on the Eko Bridge, proceeding towards Ijora Lokpa by NEPA intersection inwards Akpogbo. Traffic is very much high within that particular corridor. We can tell you inwards journey Akpogbo, and of course traffic is slow, and that's as a result of those of you trying to connect with Victoria Island, coupled with a high influx within that particular corridor. The backlog from Outer Marina heading towards Akpogbo Bridge, but it's a moving traffic being experienced there. I can also tell you that those of you making use of the Qatar Bridge end is also still looking good, even though you have lots of influx there, but no major worries. Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, things are still very, very much on the good side from the Dokpomu end, linking up with Cement, but you begin to meet some slowness approaching Ilezik. From there inwards National, slow and steady, but no major worries at this time. By the way, if you also want to join the conversation this morning, feel free to do so, and that's on 080-99120-777. Okay, that's 080-99120-777 and 091-5387-7127. All right, so Assistant Corps Marshal Ogungbemide, let's get back to the conversation. You did say Nigeria has over 200 kilometers of road network across Nigeria.
200,000.
Yeah, 200,000, right. So, and we know that there are some dark spots that we have in the country. Some roads are roads that one needs to just, navigate with some kind of care. Where are those dark spots that you've identified from FRSC's perspective?
Yes, thank you very much. What we did actually to enhance our data collation is to distribute the major corridors into about 47. And the number one is Lagos Ibadan through Egbeda. That's the number one corridor. While we also have the Abuja Metropolis FCT along Yangoji and Co. and we also have Kaduna, we know all distributed all over the federation. And the essence of this is to enable us to have, a unique way of collating this data. This last Operation Zero, we discovered that we recorded the highest number of road traffic crashes on the Abuja metropolis and the corridor along Yangweji Lokoja Road.
Okay. While
we also recorded a very high rate of road traffic crashes along Kaduna Zaria Road.
Okay.
So it's and when you look at the western axis, Lagos Ibadan Expressway is still having the highest, and that's the essence of our decision this year. As one of our corporate strategic goal that we are going to achieve, we intend to achieve 10% reduction in road traffic fatalities and injuries through data-driven intervention. Meaning that, like this few data I mentioned to you now, is an indication that those areas need special attention. So rather than having equal distribution of our deployments, tools and manpower in all over the federation, we look at areas that needs more attention, and there's going to be necessary intervention that will be put along this road. And we already started right from Operation Zero, where we created camps along this major area. That's why it was easier for our men to get to the spot of Anthony Joshua's crash under 5 minutes.
Okay.
Under 5 minutes they were there, which is the fifth pillar of United Nations Decade of Action. That's post-crash care. Because it's one thing for crash to occur, it's another thing for people to die after the crash due to inability to receive immediate attention. That's why it's a major part of the pillars that is being, put in place by Nigeria through the Federal Road Safety Corps. So the data will enable us to know the areas where there will be special focus. And that is what we are going to do this year. And we believe with this, it will enhance in reducing the rate of road traffic crashes further.
Let's talk about collaboration now, because Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is a place that has been a source of headache for lots of motorists. As we speak right now, even though that road has been constructed, but due to the volume of traffic that we have there, any single breakdown leads to hours of pain for the motoring public. Last week, Monday, was an example. 2 trucks had a handshake collision, and that resulted into, let's say, 7 to 8 hours of pain and misery for motorists. So what kind of collaboration do you have, especially with those that construct roads, so that there can be a kind of escape route once you have this kind of situations? There can be some kind of connections and all the likes. What are the kind of connections that you have? Let's talk about that.
Yes, you recall that I was once a sector commander in Lagos, and I should be able to give you a very correct submission when it comes to the way traffic management runs in Lagos. If there's any states or the federation today that have really engaged in proper collaboration with Federal Safety Corps, is Lagos LASMA and other agencies that are there, both the VRS, LASMA, and all other agencies. We have always been working in collaboration effectively well. And you also agree with me that Lagos traffic is very unique and peculiar. Every single hold up in any part of Lagos will bring about a total gridlock because of the volume of traffic that we have in Lagos. If that's handshake that you talk about regarding those 2 trucks had happened outside Lagos.
Hello?
Okay, just a second. Just a second. Okay. I'm having some callers that I wanted to talk to you. Hello there. Good morning.
Good morning, Victor.
Yeah, good morning. What's your name?
Comrade Daniel.
Comrade Daniel. All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for bringing in the road safety officer in the studio this morning.
Right.
Yes. The issue, my concern on the road, these days you are traveling out of the state or other states,
All right.
You don't find there's a poor signage on the road.
Okay.
Poor signage, yes. In terms of road signage and also the locations of the time you are. if you get to a T junction, also in a township, maybe you don't know your way, you want to divert. There's no sign that this is the route that is leading to.
Okay.
So it has been a journey. I don't know what the rest of the are doing to collaborate with those who are in charge, whether it is Ministry of Works or whoever is in charge. And secondly, on the Lagos Ibadan Expressway, right from Beggar bus stop, those days the place was like a forest, and today we have activities, churches, estates all over that place.
Right.
Beggar to the interchange.
Right.
I see advocate that the speed limit meters should be installed within that Beggar axis to at least up to the interchange.
Okay.
I'm also of the opinion that signs like limit of maybe within Beggar to the interchange should be about 60 to 70 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
If you come to that area, you find that vehicles are use that axis as a racing ground to test their vehicles competing on the road. Since that road was fully completed in terms of construction. So that is our challenge. I think the road safety should talk and see how they can collaborate, whoever is in charge, and see that all things are put in place to reduce the carnage on that place. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Comrade Daniel. Okay, then, so quickly, let's see how you can respond to that.
Yes, thank you very much. I think that's quite a germane contribution, and it's been a thing of concern to FRSC. As far as we are concerned, the definition of a good road is a road that can speak to the road users. And how does a road speak to the driver? It's through the signages. And at times we do wonder, when government take its time to create funds for construction company to do roads, I think it's the responsibility of that construction company to do the road in its entirety. FRSC, the issue of road safety is segmented.
Okay.
FRSC does not construct roads, and FRSC does not construct signages. Our responsibility is to do what we call the road survey, to confirm the problems we notice on the road and communicate to the appropriate quarters who have the mandate to do the necessary supervision. And that's where our own input ends. And this is what we have been doing the last 38 years.
Okay.
Because we get concerned too when we get to an area, especially this area of road markings. There are some road users that cannot separate a road without a road marking. They don't even know where to overtake. They don't even know the road. They don't even know the slow lane. They cannot separate the fast lane from the slow lane or middle lane. But it takes the road marking for these things to be well divided. Before we now mention the signages that tells you about that gives you definition of that road.
Okay.
Is it a dense? That tells you the kilometers you have to move. So these things are quite important. But I can assure you that we have been engaging with the appropriate quarters for the necessary things to be done.
More reactions coming in. More reactions coming in. Let's see if we can take some more. 08099120777. Message here says there's a new craze in town where some young guys who drive fancy cars, especially in Abuja and on the island in Lagos, engage in street racing, putting lives at risk. I think this was well publicized. There's a publicized case in Abuja that led to 4 deaths. This shows that our enforcement is seriously lacking and something needs to be done about this menace. Mr. Adebayo is sending that one, and thank you so much. More reactions. This one says, good morning, Mr. Victor and ACM Ogungbemide. To be honest, until real enforcement is done about the heavy-duty vehicles, road crashes will continue. The real solution is getting them off our roads during the day, or at least during peak periods. I mean, it is not rocket science. Paul is sending this one in from Maza. This one says, Mr. Victor, I learned how to drive by myself. I woke up one morning in the village, took my brother's car and drove around the farm till I could drive properly. I drove for 5 years in Nigeria, and a few years later I moved to the UK and I failed driver's test 4 times. My point is, we need to enforce going to driving schools. Okay, it says drivers don't know how to drive because they don't have any formal education for it. Thanks. This is Shola from Maryland. Lots of messages for you, by the way. But I mean, reacting to all of this quickly, what would you say?
Well, let me start with the last one you read out.
Okay.
Are we not doing a great disservice to this country?
Hello.
Okay, just a second. Let's take this call. Let's take this call. Hello there. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning. How are you, Victor?
Very good. Who am I speaking with?
My name is Tayo.
Okay, Tayo. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Orepan.
All right, go ahead, Tayo. Quickly, make it short.
Yes. Good morning, my brother in the studio.
I'm with you, sir. Good morning.
Happened, around Agric and Ogolonto recently, where the road was restructured, and consequently, the gridlock that is becoming a natural occurrence there disappeared. I would like to see such a thing done around Owode, because at times you see this construction, they do it in such a way that they are even potentially causes of all this gridlock.
Okay.
So, please, I don't know the agency that is responsible for that, just to restructure, to study the way they have restructured them, and then we have that relief.
Okay then. All right. Thank you so much, Tayo, for your contribution. So, Owode, I mean, that will go to the Ministry of Work. Let's see if that can be properly streamlined. But in responding to some of those questions quickly.
Yes, I was just trying to say many of us do a lot of disservice to this nation. You can see the self-confession of that gentleman that he drove in this country for almost 5 years without being arrested until he got outside the country and he couldn't try it.
Right.
You know, we had an encounter in one of the media houses with a man that claimed that he was booked 23 pounds in UK. And he said if it's Nigeria, nobody will have booked him, but he paid immediately. But do you know that the people that comply outside this country are the same people that are giving us crisis here? Are the ones that were, rather than going to pay their fines as gentlemen, would rather decide to agree or, let me say, assault the men or blackmail them. Are you not aware that enforcement has become a major issue in the country today, where everybody is being blackmailed either via the social media and what have you, just to weaken the level of enforcement?
Which is kind of
anybody who stops now, right, the next thing he says is they are trying to collect money from me. They are trying to. So even at times, we think we are enjoying it, not knowing that we are really creating a problem for a nation. All
right, let's round up.
Like we have. So what I'm trying to say in the long run is that everybody has a role to play. In 2024, close to 650,000 offenders were recorded. It's not that our enforcement is weak.
Okay.
But at the same time, when you look at the volume of vehicles on Nigerian roads, we did analysis recently. More than 33 million vehicles
plied the
Nigerian roads last year.
Okay.
And I'm talking of commercial alone.
Okay.
So it is not possible for FRSC to arrest all the offenders.
All right, let's go.
That's why we know that, but it is possible for individual to say, I'm going to do what is right.
Okay then. All right. Somebody says, when you prosecute the driver of Anthony Joshua, why is the escort driver not prosecuted too, Solomon? But we have to leave it at that. We have to go. Let me say a very big thank you to you, Olusegun Ogungbemide. Thank you for connecting with us this morning. We look for some other time to expand the discourse and have more input, especially as it relates to strategies for averting road traffic crashes this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right then. That's how far we go on the program. I say a big thank you to Mike James, who has produced the program this morning. Maximum shout out going out to Nifemi Adeguroye, also in the building, and of course our social media team, Remy Aluko and Daniel Downsey. Our executive producer is Tayo Akonle. My name is Victor Oteri. Have a splendid day. Bye.